Because of AI, you're going to have the ability to be way more efficient.
Oh, we have an affordability crisis. We have a cost of delivery crisis. We have socioeconomic crisis. Every city is working through the same thing. It is not a uniquely New York problem. It's not a uniquely LA problem.
What feels broken in the market?
That was a fake time anyway. We defined it in our rule number 1, right? No assholes.
Love it. Nice and direct.
Hi, my name is Emma. We're here filming Rennie Roundtable. We're here with Mauricio, founder of the agency, and Greg with Rennie. Hi guys, how are you?
I'm great, Emma. How are you doing this morning?
We're good. We're in New York. We're in this beautiful space.
What a beautiful space, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
this is stunning. This penthouse right on Spring Street is just incredible. I love it. I love
Got an
being in New
amazing
York.
view of the water.
The Hudson River,
Can't
in
beat it.
case you didn't know.
I was going to guess, but I wasn't really sure. I'm figuring it. I'm from Vancouver. What do you say?
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to chat with you guys today about just the state of the market and insights from, your careers. I want to start with a bit more of a nuanced question before we get into the momentum and the excitement and the innovation in the real estate market. I think that from the outside, real estate has never been more visible. There's these viral moments. There's so much coverage on these trophy and legacy properties. It's a really exciting market. So I would love to know, apart from the headlines, what feels fragile and, maybe broken in the market that you are experiencing now, in your kind of everyday career?
I mean, I don't know if there's like anything that really feels broken. I think like there's just a lot of change happening right now. We're in a moment right now where the real estate industry is really changing, more from like an inside baseball type of thing versus the consumer market type of thing. There's tremendous advances in technology. From a marketing perspective, there's going to be some great, new tools, new ways of looking at houses, new search tools, et cetera, et cetera. But, nationally in the US right now, I think that there's just a lot of consolidation going on between the real estate brokerage firms. There's a lot of conversation about, National Association of Realtors, the breaking up of the National Association of Realtors, private listings, off-market listings, all of the regulations, should there be a national MLS? Should there be one? I think we're going to see a lot of change. I think we're going to see the real estate agents decrease. Because of AI, you're going to have the ability to be way more efficient. So, currently today, there's probably about 1.3 million real estate agents in the country. My prediction is that 3 years from now, there's going to be half. And I think that the good real estate agents are going to be doing more deals. Right now, 7% of the real estate agents do approximately 90% of the volume. And I think that's going to even compress. I think we're going to go to like 5% of the agents are going to be doing 90% of the volume. So I think that that's a lot of, the stuff that's going to be changing on the industry. From a market perspective, there's a lot going on. We've been on a 3-year low in terms of transactions right now. Since 1994 was the last time we had this type of volume transactions, which was the savings and loans crisis. So we're even lower than the 2008 crisis right now in terms of transaction volume. But that's starting to pick up, and we have multiple issues going on right now in the market. We've got high interest rates, but we also have high inflation, right? So from a real estate perspective, it's going to be very difficult to then get lower interest rates because of the high inflation that's still happening right now. So until we can control inflation, we're not going to be able to control, interest rates. I don't know if I answered your question, but I kind of threw it all over the place. Just to...
No, what I think is interesting about, you talked about consolidation. And I think the interesting piece of consolidation right now, and, to your question about, I won't call it what's broken in the market, but what the market's realizing. Mo and I are having a lot of fun traveling to all kinds of cities. He travels much more than I do, but I think we've been in Miami this year, LA, New York a couple times. All of these
We
gateways.
were in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, yes, exactly. So
no, we have not gone there.
we will. Next.
We will go there.
Spain
Yeah,
this weekend.
I felt like we were going there.
We should. But no, so the term that we use is gateway cities. And what we're having a lot of fun with is looking at all these gateway cities. So there's about 13 gateway cities in North America. They're all suffering from the same problem. Every city wants to think it's unique. It's like, oh, we have an affordability crisis. We have a cost of delivery crisis. We have socioeconomic crisis. We have a political crisis. Our municipality sucks. Our government sucks. Guess what? every city is working through the same thing. It is not a uniquely New York problem. It's not a uniquely LA problem. Yes, San Francisco is getting much better now,
Yep.
but it's sort of leading the pack forward and it's showing us a bit of the model. So I think what's getting interesting with sort of the consolidation of brokerage and the industry and shrinking of it, which I 100% agree with Mo on, is that the gateway cities are also getting more connected than ever. And when you tie that up, which Mo can probably speak to more, to sort of the affluent market's looking everywhere. So this $10 million penthouse, the buyers could be from any city in North America.
Given that, what is a narrative that you find misleading in the market right now? Is there anything, that people see maybe from the outside that feels different from inside the industry?
False narrative out there is that nothing's selling. And reality is markets might be off by 20 to 30% on absorption. So I think to Mo's point, over the last 2-3 years, we've seen a slowing market.
We've also started to see a beginning of an increase now.
We
like
are.
this year, 2026, we have had a little bit more transactions. So I agree with you. There's definitely stuff selling.
Yeah, that's what people have to realize, is that real estate's not going anywhere. People still need homes, people still get married, divorced, kids. Like, real estate is a fundamental aspect of our world. And in many major cities, which is kind of what we always focus on, is the major gateway cities throughout North America and globally for the agency, it's still an incredible industry. And the consolidation that's happening is getting very exciting.
I think it's exciting because there's a pumped up demand right now. Because we've been in so low, that's what's starting to cause, transaction volume to increase again. And we're seeing the transaction volume increase again. In Los Angeles alone, I just looked at this stat. We've gone from 56,000 transactions last year to, I think it was like 67,000 transactions last 12 months. So you're starting to see that increase, which I think is exciting. If you're listing your home, I think the critical piece is to make sure that you price it correctly and you listen to your real estate agent and your advisor to do it right, because when the house sits and you price it too high, it's just not going to sell today.
The best comment is everybody wants yesterday back. So people are looking to markets of 2015 or 16. They're looking to what was 2021, part of 2022. They want those numbers back. They want yesterday back. And Mo is exactly correct. I think what's happening is the market is getting very pragmatic about where it is today. And when that pragmatism shows up, you start to see more and more transactions.
Yeah, and the thing that people have to realize is that yesterday, which is, post-COVID, that was a fake time anyway.
Interest rates were zero.
Well, but not only that, the amount of money that was thrown into the economy, pumped into the world, the global economy, not only the U.S. economy, but it was just unprecedented times. And when you have that kind of compressed transaction volume, you're inevitably going to go. So, I always tell people, just forget about those years. Analyze, your base year should be 2019, right? Forget about that, moment of 2020, 2021, early 2022. And that just happened. It was a moment that happened that we'll never see again. But when you study a market, you just have to erase that, in my opinion. And it's really 2019 and before, and then post, 2023.
Yep.
I think it's interesting, the idea of yesterday, right? Like, people just want, how it was before. Looking forward, what do you think that brokerages, firms, agents need to know? Who's going to succeed? Who's doing it right? That, in the next 5 or 10 years, that it will endure.
The partnership that we have going, agency and Rennie, is because there's a lot of common factors with it. And I actually think the first thing is an aspect of brand and culture. So the real estate industry bifurcates in 2 zones. So I call it, there's the lone wolves, or low cost, no cost, cloud-based brokerages. That covers honestly about 70% of the market out there. And then there's those who want to be part of something. So agency, and I've gotten to spend a ton of time with the team, the company at a few different events, and similar with us in a much smaller form. Everyone wants to be part of it. You can almost call it a lifestyle brand, which is a super interesting comment. But I think that's going to be a key piece moving forward, is, are you part of something? Do you have a brand you can stand behind? Do you have a culture you can be part of? Because that allows the companies to actually invest in the platform. And Mo was talking about the technology that's happening out there. So we sort of talk 3 things. There's the people, the platform, and the process that comes with it. You need to be part of something in order to take advantage of that. And those are the brokers that are going to succeed.
I agree with that 100%. And you know what is interesting right now is that because of all the consolidation, there's less and less flavors out there. I've always said there's 31 flavors of ice cream, and there's something for everybody. What's happening right now in the real estate brokerage world is that now we're down to 6 flavors. there's less choices, less options. And so I think that gives some, us, the agency Rennie, a real opportunity to shine, a real opportunity to deliver incredible service, innovation, be disruptive, be different, while everybody else is, figuring out, how to operate together, how to maneuver, how to do things. We don't have to worry about that. All we have to worry about is how to deliver the best service, sell the most product, give an incredible experience to our real estate agents that work for us, give an incredible experience to our developers that hire us, and to our clients that, that hire us. And so we don't have to worry about all of the noise that's
Nope.
going on, right? We just get to do what we love to do, which is sell property.
Yeah, real estate's been impacted by private equity is the truth. If you look at it now, I don't know what the percentage would be, but with a couple key firms being publicly traded entities and now controlling the lion's share of brokers who cover transactions, there's different motivations there. These people are accountable to a public market and a board, whereas privately held companies, which in most cases historically, real estate was not a publicly traded thing. It was very, very localized. A really great, I think it's exactly, Mo can tell the story about how agency started, but you've got one of the top agencies in the country who goes, now I want to do it for myself and on my own. These were always little great salespeople who then built companies around them, and great people wanted to work with them, and you built up these firms. But they were never driven by public markets or all these other factors that are driving what they have to do.
And I think the other unique thing about it that we have right now in terms of our companies is that we're a luxury brand. And I think that the economy, what we're going to start seeing, and I mean, if you look at everybody, it's going to be high luxury, right? The LVMHs of the world, all of that, what have you, Dior's, super high luxury, and then like really the mass markets. Unfortunately, that middle market is kind of disappearing. But we're positioned to be that luxury brand, and I don't know if there's anybody else that's positioned to be a luxury brand right now.
No, and it's really great. I love playing. Where our partnership comes from is new development, right? So we're sitting in New York, the mecca of new development. It is all condo development, rental development, and those are major gateway cities. And years ago, there was a book called When Mayors Rule the World. And that was because the power is actually concentrated in the cities. And yes, COVID changed people's perceptions a little bit. COVID changed the back to work. But that's all coming back now. You watch what's going to happen to major cities, and that is where you see affluence. That is where you see sort of the elevated pricing. And it is something that we have to grapple with. I was just in Hong Kong, and you look at some of the major cities in Asia, and they have really figured out how to create density, how to create a service base within it. So how do you balance these things when you've got affluent cities, affluent markets that still need people to support all the other services, whether that's nurses, doctors, ambulance, coffee shops, service-based people. So this is what cities are grappling with, and it's super fun for us to be playing in those areas. That was a bit tangential and totally off, but
Totally off. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'd love to hear, like, how did your partnership start? How did you guys meet? And what made you want to?
tell part of it.
You tell that.
Okay.
You start it, and I'll interrupt.
Organic. It's so funny how these things go. So 18 months ago, I was running around LA trying to figure out how we could grow the company because we were doing some stuff in Seattle, Bellevue, and we were trying to look for opportunities in LA. And through that, I ran through a project, met a nice young man, a coffee led to a drink, led to me getting some information that I knew that there was some change coming to the agency. And I kind of sat back for 6 months and waited. And when I heard that their new development team was no longer with them, I called a buddy of ours, Mark McLaughlin, who started a company called Pacific Union and sold it to Compass, and said, I'd really love to meet Mauricio. Now, you can imagine from my point of view, I'm like, okay, this is the agency. I've certainly heard of his name before. And I'm going, okay, let's see if this works. Within 12 hours, he called me back. Best phone call. Just amazing how open, comfortable, direct Mo was. Called me back the very next day and said, I've got a project in Punta Mita we want to pitch on.
Yep. And then we started pitching on it. We went for the pitch. We prepared materials together. We worked very good together. The two companies were like synergistic, like right off the bat, which was pretty awesome. We really are two companies that really complement each other's weaknesses. Our strengths become together, and it's that perfect yin and yang, situation where like the two companies together are 10x more powerful than the two companies separate, particularly when it comes to new development. I mean, Rennie's, longstanding, probably one of the first and best, project sales teams, in the world globally. They've got amazing research. They've got amazing technology, the back end, the CRMs, all of this stuff that developers love, that institutional companies love and need, that we have mediocrely, and we can deliver on it. But now together, coupled with the agency's global reach, with its market, strength, with the sales force that we've created, we can now start moving property globally, which I think is critical right now because property is not sold locally anymore. It is local, but it needs to be sold globally. And that's really when you're going to have a successful project.
It was such an opportunity to take what we do and bolt it into a company that has a global brand, global reach, 3,500 plus agents around the world, 160 plus offices in all the best countries. So to be able to attach to that is amazing. Not to mention that, again, it is the largest privately held luxury brokerage left. And these are all things that we can take advantage of. And tying that a little bit to where the market's at today, you were chatting about this a bit yesterday. Now's the time to do these things. In 2 to 3 years, the market will be at a pace where you won't have the opportunity to build partnerships. You won't have the time to build the systems and the platform needed to take advantage of it.
And kind of going back to what you were saying before, this idea of culture and, synergy and how you guys just, your teams got along and it all worked out just organically from the start. What are some non-negotiables that, in terms of how you lead your business, whether that's who you hire, the deals you do, the culture you shape, the standards?
I want to jump on this one right away because to me it's such a key one. So we have a line that is, we hire fundamentally good humans. And we all have perceptions. So I've gotten to spend a bunch of time with Mauricio and Bob Rennie, who's our founder. He has a line that says, it costs nothing to be kind. And when I wrote the email to the company to say, here's what's going on, we're doing the strategic partnership with the agency. And I said, the one thing that warms me with it is Mauricio and Bob are two of the kindest, most gracious human beings I've met. And it doesn't matter where we go, what restaurant we're walking through, what coffee shop we're in. You watch the two founders of these businesses acknowledge everyone, whether it's the doorman, the barista, or the CEO of a billion-dollar company. I watch both of them treat everyone equally. And that to me is a non-negotiable.
I love that. I agree with that. It's all about people for us. And so it kind of goes the same way. And thank you for saying that. But yeah, it's all about people. We define it in our rule number 1, right? No assholes.
Love it. Nice and direct.
It's that simple. Our rule number 10 is all rules are meant to be broken, except for rule number 1.
Love that. I'm curious how your experiences early on in the industry shaped how you lead and how you do your business.
I think for me, it's not so much about my experiences in the industry. I think that the way that I lead is more just about how I perceive people, how I read the room, what I like to look at. I like to give everybody, it's not that I like to, I require everybody that works for the agency to have their own thoughts, their own expressions. I want them to be creative. I want them to be innovative. I like it when people take chances and risks and make mistakes. Like for me at our company, it's not about not making mistakes. It's about trying things. It's about being innovative. It's about changing. And you can't change and you can't be great unless you fall a couple of times. So I encourage that in everybody. We hire, as Greg just said, the best people, and we allow them to do what they do best. From my perspective, I like to delegate. I like people to do their jobs because the reason they're in that job is because hopefully they're the best at that job, at that position. And so I don't want to get involved in the little nitty gritty stuff or all of that stuff, at all. And that's kind of the way that I look at, leadership in terms of creating an amazing company that can actually deliver amazing results is by having amazing people do amazing things and take risks.
For me, 25 years in the industry, there's two things that have sort of really created, I'll call it, the foundation of how we run the company or how I like to lead, is one, acknowledge that we're in a service-based industry, which means our product is the people. Like, we don't manufacture stuff, we don't build stuff. We represent and support the brokers who sell and buy people's homes for them, which again is one of the most biggest decisions anyone's going to make in their life. So acknowledging always that we're a service-based company sets your perception of what you have to do. I think the other real benefit, and this kind of has to do more with the opportunity to do new home development, is we've always been in the B2B side of the business. So I've spent my career sitting in rooms with incredibly successful, smart people who have failed many times to your point in life. And through that, you take away so many key lessons and learnings that just build over time or stack over time. The one final one, and again, I'll tie this where I see Mo and where I see Bob doing a lot of similar things, and I myself try to emulate that, is stacking. So how many coffees do you have a week? How many lunches do you have a week? How many breakfasts do you have a week? How many people are you meeting with? And every meeting that you have, you take that bit of information and carry it into the next meeting. And through that, you build this incredibly large book of knowledge. And again, because we're in the service business, because we're in the people business, the ability to trade knowledge is actually all we ever do.
In terms of development, what advice would you give to developers now in the market? And what would you tell them maybe to stop doing?
Oh, I'll let you run first.
I mean, my advice to developers
Hire us.
is to obviously it's to hire us. It's to surround yourself with the best people always. Period.
Yep.
End of story. Whether you're hiring the best designer, the best architect, the best real estate brokerage firm, people that are going to really deliver on all of that. But to me, the one piece of advice that I would give a developer is something that I learned at a lesson that a Harvard professor talks about, and she has a great class on this. Is that in order to be great, you have to dare to be bad. Okay, and what developers need to do is not deliver vanilla property, not deliver something that's good for everybody. Really decide what you're going to be great at. If you want to deliver a development that is for the masses, deliver it at the lowest and best pricing. Okay? If you want to deliver something that, you're going to break records, take risks, hire the best, deliver on that, right? Hire the best architect, hire the best brokerage firm, hire the best people and take risks, really do something that might be different, that's not for everybody, but when something is unique, people will pay for it, right? So dare to be bad.
Yeah. There was a panel yesterday. Young Woo, one of the developers here in New York City, he echoed what Mo just said, which was give people space to do the best work. So hire the best team. Now, one thing I've always found too is look for the dynamic. If you don't think there's going to be if we didn't get along, we wouldn't have a workable relationship. You have to have fun. If you're having fun in the boardroom, the best work shows up. So often when we're speaking with developers about hiring a creative firm or an interior designer, and they're looking at their work, right? They're like, well, let me see what they've done. I actually don't care about their work because you've chosen them already because their body of work meets what you're looking for. Can you have fun with them in the boardroom? Can you create a dynamic where the energy and the creativity starts to shine? That's often where you get the best work.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting perspective, and that's what makes the agency so unique. And not a lot of brokerages and people don't think like that.
Now, I have a question for you, Emma. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I live in New York. I'm a freelance journalist covering the luxury market. I cover real estate, travel, and all things lifestyle.
What's your favorite part of New York?
I mean, just the energy. I think that's so basic, but I
That's
don't know.
okay.
It's just fast paced. It's the best way to operate, I think.
Would you ever live anywhere else?
Um, London?
Oh,
Like that.
actually, what's your favorite city?
So luckily for me, I don't have a favorite city. I love so many cities and I love so many things. People ask me that all the time. Like, do I prefer to travel to the ocean or the mountains? Like, do I prefer, do I want to be in a city? Like, to
Well, that's
me,
your tattoo now. Doesn't it have the mountain and the
it
oceans
has them
on it?
both, exactly. But to me, I love LA. I'm a huge fan of LA. I've always loved it. I live there. I love New York. I'm a huge fan of New York. I love Miami. I love Vancouver. I love Madrid. I love London. I love Paris. I love Hong Kong. I love Tokyo. I mean, I really think there's just so many incredible places in this world. Like, why do we have to pick one?
Oh man, it's so true.
Where would you live if you didn't live in Vancouver?
I want my life to be a third, a third, a third. My home is Whistler. I love being in the mountains.
Whistler.
Skiing's a passion. So if I could spend a third of the time there, a third of the time getting to enjoy work in cities. One of the best things about what we're doing right now is getting to come to all these cities and enjoy and work at the same time. It's not travel, it's not vacation, and it's not work. I don't know. It's just getting to meet really cool people. So for me, Vancouver and Whistler are my home and my home base. A third of the time, I want to just enjoy other cities around the world.
Yeah, there's something good in each place. And
now we get one last question.
yeah, I would love to know, I think, what holds more weight in the real estate industry? Is it this idea of attention? Is it discipline? Whether that's, maybe not scaling at the same level that other brokerages do, really sticking to your standards, or substance? Is it, what you're listing? Is it, what you're putting out there on the market. And yeah, I'm curious if you guys have
When you
any.
ask what holds more weight in the industry, are you
Yeah,
referring like inside baseball, like amongst like within the
yeah. I
industry, or are you
mean,
thinking about
what
like the consumer vision,
consumer?
consumer
Or sorry,
perspective?
no, but what you think about it? Like, is it like what is more durable? What is more, I think, important to succeed from a brokerage standpoint in real estate? Um, and what takes you the furthest, I think.
I almost want to say the same answer that I gave to what a developer should do. Like, dare to be bad. Like, learn what you're going to be great at and deliver on that. Culture, luxury. You can't be great for everybody. You don't need to be great for everybody. Anybody that tries to be great for everybody is just going to be mediocre. And we don't want mediocrity in this world. Period.
Nope.
End of story. We want extraordinary, events. We want extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. And that's one of the things that I think, will stand out. I think that, having a boutique firm and a firm that's nimble, that we can do things, that there's no red tape, that we can actually make decisions and are willing to make mistakes, that allows us to do things, and I think that, that positions us in a really good place right now. When I look at our competition that's going on right now, I think there's going to be multiple people that, kind of are standing and survive. There's, businesses with tremendous amount of equity right now, but it's shrinking, it's consolidating, and you still need, different choices for different people. So I'm very excited. You need to embrace technology. I think you need to embrace innovation, and that's what's going to stand out, and that's what's going to make, particularly for us, the agency Rennie, the combination of all of that stuff. I think that's what's going to make us stand out over all of our competition.
Yeah, what's going to be enduring and durable is the individual and the relationship. And, to tie that to what's happening out there, the reason that we're seeing so much consolidation is the marketplace, the industry has realized that there's one person who starts and finishes a transaction. Yes, there's a lawyer, there's an insurance broker, there's a mortgage broker, there's an appraiser, there's an inspector, there's all these people who are involved in a transaction, and there's a lot of technology that takes you through that pace. But there's only one person that starts and finishes it. That's the realtor, the broker, the advisor, whatever term you want to put to it. So I think the enduring and lasting thing is going to be the individual and the relationships they have. I actually don't know if in 3 to 5 years we'll be using terms like realtor or broker advisor, because that was...
Well, let's just not even use realtor anymore.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's get rid of that term.
Absolutely.
Get it out
We
of
use
here.
advisor, you use broker, like
Yeah.
because that's an old way of thinking. And when you needed that person to give you listing information, when you needed that person to give you market data, there was a different way of being. But the insecurity in buying or selling a home is what's never going to change. It's the biggest decision most people ever make in their lives when it comes to the financial well-being and your family and your home. It's 4 walls and a roof that is security from the elements and the world. So yeah, to me, it's very much just the human being and the relationship. I don't care about AI. I don't care about technology, all of those things. You won't disrupt that person who starts and finishes the transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think brokers are becoming more like lifestyle concierges almost. They're the person that the client asks about, the country clubs around you, the schools, the advice just in, beyond the signing a lease or a deal. So
We're definitely gatekeepers, right? We're definitely concierge. I like that. I think since we sell homes, we should just be butlers.
that's a take.
I'll tell you the funny story, which is exactly along these lines.
Okay.
So about in 2016, Bob and Chris Rennie, Bob's son, they hired Wink Creative so they do like Monocle Magazine and all these other things. So they're one of the top creative firms in the world. They're out of London. And we went through a branding exercise, and Chris is half Japanese. So Japanese culture runs through a lot of things we do. Bob's huge in the art world, so art and curation. And when we went through the whole exercise, they said, are the curator, the consigliere, or I forget the third one. And everyone thought that Bob was going to pick the curator because of art. And he picked consigliere. And they go, no, we don't want to be like the Italian consigliere who, is like hiding around and causing all kinds of solving problems, but a Japanese consigliere. And a Japanese consigliere is exactly what you just described or you just described. They're the lifestyle concierge. They're the quiet person behind the scene. They're not taking the limelight. And that's actually why when you look at Rennie's logo, it's a little R. It's actually meant to be a Japanese man bowing. And it's these subtle things, I think, that sort of ring through as we grow up.
I love
Anyway,
that.
It's a cool story.
Love that. Well, thank you guys for being here and talking on the podcast. It was great to chat with you, and enjoy the rest of your time in New York.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you for doing this for us.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully people get some really good information out of this.
Yeah, and we'll do it again.
Maybe.